Hi, my name is Andrew. I am a sophomore in high school here in San Francisco. Although I grew up in a town in Florida, when I moved to San Francisco, I realized everything was more expensive, including the food. This got me thinking, how do people without access to as many resources still eat good food? What if those people still want to have healthy diets? You may wonder, what is a diet? A diet, according to Google, is a special course of food to which one restricts on oneself, either to lose weight or for medical reasons. Diets are a way for people who want to start eating healthier, but why do people think of diets when they want to eat healthier? Simply, diets are a common thought when someone thinks about wanting a healthier life, but it can be hard for people who want to start a diet and for people who are in a diet for reasons that I'll talk about in a bit. Now, I would like to present a special guest from Urban Tilts. Urban Tilts is an organization where they grow crops and help provide healthy food for people in need and to provide for the community. I would like to welcome Diana Liao. I interviewed her and asked her questions about her thoughts and opinions on diets and diet cultures.
My name is Diana. I grew up in Richmond and I got into agriculture within this organization here in Richmond called Urban Till. Um, I didn't know anything about agriculture. I've never grown anything. Like, I was always fascinated by trees and plants and going on hikes like that and stuff like that. But I grew up, in Richmond where there's not much green spaces and it's very, um, all you see is cement and abandoned homes. So to me, I didn't have access to that. There was no school gardens when I grow up or anything like that. So when I started working at Urban Silk, I was a little shook because I was like, "What? There's gardens in Richmond? Like, I didn't know there's gardens in Richmond." I co-teach the urban agriculture class, and it's a class at Richmond High, obviously, which is really cool because I also went to Richmond High. So now that I'm there working in a garden and teaching youth about gardening, they kind of take it for granted right now because they're still teenagers and they're like, whatever, like they're making me garden, whatever. But I feel like once they get older, they'll come back and be like, oh, that was cool. Like they'll realize like, yeah, a lot of people don't grow up with school gardens, so I constantly have to remind them, like, hey, I grew up in Richmond. I didn't have this, okay? So be a little more grateful. We cook with the food we grow, and we also have farm stands where we give out the extra produce that we grow and we give it out to the students and the teachers at school. I definitely feel like a lot of it is based on the media and accessibility and how, like sometimes things get overhyped and certain foods, certain restaurants, certain ways of eating is more hyped up than others. Yeah, accessibility is another thing because Richmond is considered a food desert. No, we didn't have local organic produce and access to grocery stores with healthy foods. And we were mostly shown, we had like liquor stores right around the corner, and that's where most of our food would come from.
Another thing that Diana mentioned is diet culture. But what is diet culture? Diet culture is a social expectation that tells us how we should eat and look, and that if our bodies look a certain way, we are more accepted. Diet culture is a way for people to feel guilty or bad about their choices on food. It doesn't allow people to enjoy diets or even want to continue or do it at all. Another thing is social media. Social media influences people and makes them feel bad about their body. They will think to themselves that others with larger bodies are considered unhealthy compared to people with thinner and skinny bodies are considered healthy. People will feel ashamed about their body and will feel insecure about how other people will think about them.
Because I do want to uplift my community to have better access to healthier foods and learn how to cook these foods. And yeah, it definitely is part of like, my whole healing and reconnecting to myself and the land and yeah, just having healthier food options.
What is the purpose of this video? The video was to acknowledge that not everyone has the accessibility to having a healthy diet. People struggle to try to get healthy food, but without access to it, it's difficult for people to maintain a healthy life. A solution I have is to have more grocery stores and produce markets in an area where there aren't really any, so that people can have more accessibility and have healthier lives.